All right, guys. So Dragon Prince is back after what? 2 years?
Has it been 2 years, really?
Something like that. I don't know. I
Well,
think
season four, Dragon Prince.
season four. It was a time skip for us, and now it's a time skip for them. So we really need to get into it. I'm Chuku. This is
Scott?
so yeah. Let us get into this whole Dragon Prince thing. Overall, what do you think? Your thoughts about this season?
I think this season was better than the last season,
Mm-hmm.
but overall, like, I still think the first or second season might be, like, better.
So it's funny because I do agree in terms of quality that I feel like this season it has better. The quality to me is this season's same with season two because I think season two has been the best season so far. Although I do enjoy season three, but but for me it's like aspects where this season did better, or at least improved on. There are other aspects that the other seasons, um, like the better of aspects, right? Like if this season was strong here, or if this season had that stronger strength in this area, the other season had more of a weaker strength in this area. It kind of reversed here. So
Yeah, there were parts of season four I feel like it's progressing the story and the story is becoming more interesting.
yeah,
That's the upside to this season.
yeah,
But I also feel like there's a lot of stuff that this season it felt more fluffy sometimes
yeah,
this season compared to like the first one when they had to like the king died and they had to go
mm,
on an adventure. I
yeah,
think that was another thing. I really enjoyed the adventure aspect of season one and two.
mm-hmm,
If you know me, adventure is like one of my favorite genres.
mm-hmm,
And this season felt more static in some
yeah,
ways,
yeah,
compared to season one and two.
yeah,
So that's why I enjoyed those seasons more. But also this one, like I felt like I wasn't really into the I don't know if you remember their names, but the mute person, the girl, the strong uh general,
yeah,
her and the relationship
yeah,
with the sun elf.
yeah,
I I wasn't really into that storyline. Like it
yeah.
felt too like I don't know,
Petty.
petty, yes, but also like very like the human telling the sun elf, oh, you can't do this because of your superstitions, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
It's like she had zero respect for tradition.
yeah,
It felt like kind of dumb,
yeah,
like that these things would not be explained, like there would be no line of communication
yeah.
between like, oh, this is a sacred tradition, like let's do it at this spot where we won't burn up the
Oh,
camp.
okay. Sorry. I'm sorry, but this is one of my gripes I have, and I think overall, if I had to summarize my experience with this season in general, or just Dragon Prince in general, is that there's a lot of good, entertaining aspects, but there's a lot of messy things within storytelling, and this is a good example because that whole scene with the whole tradition having the fireplace thing, my head was just thinking, can't they just take that fireplace, move it somewhere else? Like you
Exactly.
didn't have to, because the way they framed it was you have to pour the fire out because it's going to burn the village, or we have to make it stay. But nobody in their mind thought, why don't we just move it? It was just, it baffled me. And then they even got further. It's like, oh, we have to destroy her because of the fire. Like I thought that was just going to be that episode thing, but no,
Yeah.
they want to provoke the conflict even more. So
Yeah, well, I feel like if they moved it, there would be a higher chance of like, oh, the tents will go on fire if you start moving it, blah blah blah. You can argue that, but at the same time, there should have been, if this was such a sacred tradition, like there should have been some communication between them to be like, oh, where can we do this? Or like this is like a tribe of sun elves, and fire is like a thing that
yeah,
they like really worship and stuff like that. Why don't we designate a place for it? Like
exactly.
there's just so much that did not make sense
Yeah,
story wise for me for that. And the whole like scheming brother thing was kind of dumb.
yeah,
Um so that whole storyline was like, in my opinion, unneeded,
yeah,
unnecessary, completely unnecessary. One of the weaker ones.
yeah.
And I think the most interesting story was with Viren coming back to life.
Yes.
Like every time they were on screen, that was like great. That was like my favorite part about the season.
Yes.
And Claudia and even Soren, like the conflict, I really want him to have a good conversation with Viren.
Yeah, I did. That
Yeah.
was sort of a missed opportunity
Yeah.
with this. Like he sees Viren and then they cut off and he's kidnapped. Whatever. I
Yeah,
was
that
like,
was
what?
that was disappointing.
That was really disappointing.
But I mean, like overall, like their characters, like the story they set up for the characters and the way that all of these relationships play out between them,
Yeah,
that family, immediate family in general, that's the most interesting part about Dragon Prince. Like
it's true.
it's kind of upsetting that they did not establish a more like a stronger relationship between Claudia and um like the King Ezrin and
um and
Yeah.
Column.
yeah, and Callum.
Yeah,
Like I feel, well, maybe because I haven't watched, it's been a while, all I watched was the recaps.
yeah.
So maybe they did establish a stronger
I
relationship,
didn't
but
think it was strong. Yeah,
I didn't feel it in this
yeah.
in this season. I was like, we used to be friends, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess that's true. Like
I mean, the only relationship they had was that Colin wanted to get at Claudia, but Claudia, I don't know, maybe he felt, I don't know, they just felt awkward around each other, and then eventually, they try to kidnap Aaron. That was basically their whole thing until the end of Ezrin, until the end of season 2 when Soren injured his leg, and that's when he had that epiphany moment and all that. So that's the only thing that they really quote unquote had, but there was no like deep, strong, It was just
Yeah.
like, oh, I knew him from my high school. That was basically what it was. But
yeah, I think that was a missed opportunity. I feel like if they established their relationship more, it would have been a much stronger conflict between them. But right now, it's mostly between Viren, Claudia, and Soren, in my opinion. Like those are the characters that make me interested in wanting to watch more.
I agree.
I
100%
I
agree.
like don't really care too much about like what Ezrin or Callum or
um
even the Dragon Prince. I don't care what they're doing.
yeah.
It's all about Viren at this and
Yeah,
his
it's
family
true.
at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, he has the most interesting aspect. I agree. I agree with the plot line. I felt that was the thing that really, really tied me into
Yeah.
this. Because I was really, even the first episode, I was born of the whole column, oh, something's gonna attack Ezrin. And then I thought, and this is where another thing where I noticed the sloppiness. And I will get to positives. I know it sounds like I'm shitting on this story, but there are some positives for sure. But the sloppiness I felt with the first episode was like the way they build up that this was actually they're doing a surprise party for Colum's birthday. It was so random. Like it was just like, oh yeah, it's your birthday. Like there was no hint of it in
Yeah.
the beginning. It was just randomly it was his birthday, and then we switch into him being upset about my God, now I'm forgetting her name. I feel bad. I'm forgetting.
Claudia?
No, not Claudia. My God,
The Sun Elf and
the elf girl,
Rayla.
Rayla. There we go. Where we reveal like, oh, I'm actually upset about Rayla being
Yeah.
broke up with me, and it's
Yeah.
just like it just came out of nowhere.
I didn't even mention Rayla. Like that's how much I care about her at this moment. Like she's a cool character in season 1 and 2, but like this season she felt like a very weak presence. Like
Yeah,
she didn't even really matter.
yeah,
Like if she wasn't there, nothing would have really changed. Other than that scene between her and Claudia, which was a good scene overall.
yeah.
I feel like at the point where she noticed it was rocks, go chase after them. You're a freaking assassin.
Exactly.
Like what are you doing? Like just crying in the lava rocks.
Yeah,
But Claudia went all the way back to just give her that back because
Yeah.
of her boyfriend.
I'm sorry, but now I have to go. I feel like we're going on side tangents, but going back to that rock scene, it's like this rocks is supposed to stop. Like it's this rocks, and there's a sense of urging, but yet everyone has time to walk. Like literally, Baron is just walking. His rocks are falling down. I'm like, seriously, like where's this? But okay,
Yeah.
but all right, but yeah, that scene was really like I didn't care about that stuff, and it was only when we got to see Viren, and I think the thing that made Viren stuff really appealing was there's a part where he was like, you know what, if I'm gonna die in 30 days, like I might as well enjoy life. Like why was I chasing?
I was like, yes, Viren, redeem yourself, man.
Exactly.
Like he has the potential to do that, you know.
Exactly.
But like, I don't know. To me, that was a wasted opportunity.
Yeah.
Like I feel like having a conflict between, because like the way it ended, it was like him being his dark self again, right?
Yeah.
If they spent more time with the whole conflict internal conflict
Yeah.
after he died,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe he actively fought against Claudia sometimes, that would have
Yeah.
been a great thing to see
Mm-hmm.
in the next season. I don't like how they like made him all bad again. I mean, I hope it's not that way, but
Yeah.
it seems that way.
Yeah, because I feel like the way the direction was going was that Claudia was going to be the dark one, and then Viren was going to be like, maybe he's going to have a turnaround where he's like, actually, Claudia, I was wrong about all this. And she's like, no, we need to do this because, XYZ. So,
Because I need to save you.
yeah, exactly. I feel like
It-
that
it-
was where it was
that would have been
going.
a compelling story. I don't want them all to be like, yeah, let's all team up together
Yeah.
and free this dude that we know is probably manipulating us.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. But I will admit, once they got to the point where, we have Column, we got Ezran, we got Rayla, we got Soren figuring out, okay, we need to stop Ezros. I think that's the name of the main villain.
Erebos.
Erebos, yeah. When they
It's not that hard. No, just kidding.
Exactly.
When Soren was like mixing up the names.
Yeah, exactly. That's hilarious. But I felt that's the part when the story got stronger because I feel like the biggest problem I've always had with Dragon Prince, and this is why even though season 3 was sort of messy, I still enjoyed it, was
Yeah, I'm gonna be real. I did not like season 3 that much. I think it escalated way too fast.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the show did not build it up enough for there
Yeah.
to be like that great war and everything.
Yeah, I agree. But to go on to that, at least there was this sense of like urgency and conflict and risk. Because I felt like with the first 2 seasons until the end, until the part when Soren gets his leg injured, it just felt like you didn't feel like there was a strong conflict. You didn't feel like there was a strong, like, oh my God, like, what will happen if they don't do this, right? You didn't feel that urge. It just felt like everything was too fun, too safe. It's like even the first season, like no one was really after them. There were people who were after Rayla, but there wasn't really anyone after Ezra and Colin. So it was just like
Other than Claudia and Soren.
Claudia. Yeah, other than Claudia and Sawyer. And even then, they were just, to me, silly jokes. And I don't know what it is, but it feels like in the show, like Claudia has like a fart fetish because every time there's some fart joke with her, and it's like, oh, my boyfriend can fart and it smells good, and Viren's just like, oh my God, why is this my daughter? So it's just like, yeah, it's just like ridiculous stuff like that where it's just like, I can't really take the show.
And then they're like teasing us with like, oh, the things I had to do to bring you back to life.
Yeah.
Why don't you show that? Why don't you show any of it? Like,
Yeah.
please create like a OVA or something. This is
Yeah.
not an anime, but create like something where Claudia actually had to go through some of that stuff. I don't want it to just be said,
Yeah.
and for us to just assume it, because she doesn't seem any more broken than she is from season 1. Like, she seems rather similar.
Well, okay, that's another thing. The magic to me is so random because, like, that part when they want to go to the mountain, so she can teleport to the mountain, but she can't teleport back up.
I think she just opened like the wall or something.
Was
Like,
it the same mountain?
It was the same mountain. I think.
Okay.
I think they were
hope-
chilling in the same freaking mountain.
Okay.
And then like Rayla just couldn't find them. It's pretty ridiculous. I don't know.
It's confusing because then how could she? I mean, how did she have the same time to meet that guy, the elf guy? It just seemed like he just came randomly out of nowhere.
Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was the same mountain.
I mean, I hope that's the case because then my question is if she can just. My point is if she can just port herself
Yeah, no.
in there, why didn't they just port back?
Yeah, I agree.
So it's like the
it's
magic,
confusing.
it just seems to be random. But on the bright side, I'm glad that Colum seems more competent with his magic. Because that was the biggest thing that I was annoyed with the first 3 seasons, where it's like, you have this guy's a mage. He doesn't do any mage stuff until the ending of season 2. And then even in season 3, when he's doing it, he's still not that great. And then randomly he's able to beat Viren at the end by some magical luck because he said he loved Rayla. So it was just like,
Yeah, we made a video a long time ago about the problem with Callum. Some people didn't like that video, but like overall, it was just like his character and his like progression with magic is a big issue because like he starts off as very, very weak at it, and all of a sudden, randomly, he's just like great at it
yeah,
at certain times,
yeah,
and it's like undeservingly so. Like
yeah.
there's this is total people who watch the show probably don't watch The Woman King, but but like in The Woman King we get to see that training, that progression, right?
Yeah,
We don't get to see that with Callum at all.
Yeah.
There's no like Aang with master Pakku, you know?
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
no Aang with Zhang or
Yeah,
like Aang with anyone, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no master there.
yeah,
And that's the big issue. Like if Callum just met someone that taught him stuff, that would have been way better. Instead of him just being like, "Oh, all of a sudden I know how to do this amazing spell that can save your life out of nowhere when I couldn't do it earlier."
yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. But the bright side with at least this season is that he's more. I mean, you could say he has there has been a 2 year gap, so it's like
Yeah.
he's a little more competent, and I feel like he's more useful, right? Because I just didn't think he was useful, and the biggest gripe I have with him was that I mean, Colum, the way it's setting up, it seems like Colum is the main protagonist of the series because the way it's
Yeah.
set up. So, and it's just, and my biggest issue previously was just that he wasn't driving the story at all. He just felt like a passive character.
I understand that. Yeah. This season he felt like a side character, supporting character. To me.
I mean, I felt he had more. To me, he at least he was more useful than the previous seasons. The previous seasons where I felt more of like he just again wasn't driving the story at all. And
Well, I feel like first season and second season it was all about those three. It was about him, Ezrin, and Rayla.
yeah,
It was mainly those three, but then this season it felt like a mixture of everyone. Like everyone we've sort of gotten to see so far. And he's gotten a lot less screen time, in my opinion.
Really? Because I did feel like when it did.
Maybe when he was on, I just paid attention.
Okay, you
less.
probably less. Because I was going to say, I would say, like, again, the first episode, it was still him trying to figure out what's going on with Ezrin. So I felt like he was, although you could say it wasn't important, but same time, he was at least driving something versus like the later season. It just seemed like Rayla was like, okay, let's go in this adventure. And Colin's like, I don't know, we should do this. And it's like, it just seems like
the earlier seasons.
Yeah, earlier seasons. And it just seems like he wasn't really, for him to be the protagonist or the main protagonist and not drive the adventure is a little bit of a troubling sign. So at least in this season, there's a little bit more of it. But at the same time, it's not, I don't know, there still doesn't feel much of a strong emotional stake for him.
Yeah.
Besides the whole, he got taken over by.
I feel like that's like similar with Black Panther too. It's interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, very
it's
similar.
Like the Queen sent us on this mission.
Yeah.
I don't like. Yeah, I didn't really enjoy that mission too much. It felt kind of unnecessary. Like they were having fun with it, which was cool, but like all the trials seemed very forgettable to me.
Yeah.
It was just like they had this guide that knew exactly what to do, and
Exactly.
and there's no real conflict. It's just like
Or character change, character.
yeah.
like,
There's
now
no challenge. There's nothing that made that story interesting for me. Once they got to Rex, yeah, like that's when things got a bit more interesting. But at the same time, like we said before, for this season, it's all about Viren and his family.
Yeah.
That's where the story was at.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's so far the thing that's keeping me intrigued with the show because I would have dropped it off recently. And I think the reason why I'm a little bit more harsh on Dragon Prince is like, people always compare it to Avatar and they say that this is better than Korra. And it's
what?
Just, yeah, people say stuff like that. It's
insane.
like people will say stuff like, "Oh, Legend of Korra, blah blah blah. Dragon Prince is the real thing." And I'm just thinking to these, it's just like, I just think these people just don't understand the nuances about storytelling and whatnot. Like, yeah, Korra has its flaws, but there's a lot of innovations that Korra has made for action animated television that to just say that Dragon Prince, which, I mean, Dragon Prince, it's, entertaining by itself, but still, even as an action cartoon, there's not really anything nuanced or anything
those two
unique
episodes with Avatar 1 already better than all of Dragon Prince.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, but like Dragon Prince is like nowhere near Korra. Korra is like an amazing show compared to Dragon Prince.
Yeah.
I mean, on its own, it's an amazing show.
Yeah.
But like the thing about Dragon Prince, it's like it feels like a show that is on a deadline. Like it feels like a show that needs to move certain plot points forward and like do things really quickly and not explore like inner conflict in characters, not give certain characters the time they deserve for them to grow. It feels like a show that just needs to move this story forward.
Yeah. But the funny part about that, even with that moving story forward, there just seems like there's a lot of fillers. Like there's moments in when the characters are
Yeah.
talking where it's just like, why are we saying this? You can literally just skip this fat, reveal this thing, but they were like, "Lo, let's make a little joke about XYZ. Let's read like the
That's true. That's true.
like the one scene where what's it called? Where even the recent episode, the latest episode where they find the map inside the dragon's thing. They first mentioned that, then they mention again, oh yeah, the map is inside the dragon's teeth. You just said that in the first scene. Like, why are we replaying that scene? So it's just like, I don't know. It's a weird thing with the show.
Yeah, but I guess what I mean is like, oh, actually before I finish that thought, real quick, there were like fun things about, because we mentioned Avatar and Korra.
Yeah.
There were fun Easter eggs.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
you noticed them, right?
Yeah.
When we were in Rex's lair, there was like treasure, and there's Aang's like glider, and then there was something else. There's the glider and the boomerang. There's the boomerang.
There was a boomerang.
Yeah. Sokka's boomerang.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, in the treasure area. And then like
I think there was a reference. Somebody said a reference that was Avatar. I
when
don't know.
Soren said yip yip.
Yeah, there we go.
For the dragon.
There we go.
Yeah, those were like two very. I'm sure there was more, but like those were the two that really stood out to me.
Exactly.
Yeah. I just sorry, that was a random.
That's
tangent.
fair. That's fair.
But we mentioned Avatar, and that's why I thought of it. But going back to what I was saying, I feel like this is inevitable, but like comparing Avatar to, like, we literally just did this, but comparing Avatar to Dragon Prince, Avatar spent so much time like with him literally just trying to build his way up to fighting the Fire Lord.
Yeah, exactly.
That was literally the story since book 1, you know? Very early on.
Yeah.
They could have made Dragon Prince like all about like exploring Zadia and trying to get Zim back to his mother.
Yeah.
You know, they could have spent way more time with that, explore the characters, give us deeper relationships, have more conflicts between Soren and Claudia in that sense.
Yeah.
With the main group.
Mm-hmm.
But they needed to move it forward. That's what I mean. Like, they do it so fast that we don't spend enough time building up this one great story. But I guess like they're trying to do that with Erebos. So we'll see how that goes. But,
yeah, definitely.
But at the same time, like, I just think there was a lot of potential in certain story points that they really rushed and made it conclude and to move forward.
Yeah, definitely.
And now they're giving us stories that I don't care about. Like, I really don't care about their. I'm sorry, I forgot her name, but the mute person's with the Sun Elf. I just
I don't care about.
I don't
that
care about
at
that at all.
Yeah.
Like, she's a cool character for sure.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
But I just think like utilizing her in that story is like wasteful. Like, I just think that they could make way more use for her.
I agree. And I think one more thing I'll add to this that I have seen a little bit progression is I did like, and again, this goes back to us liking Viren more, but I did like that moment where he's talking to the Claudia's boyfriend, and he's talking about the whole like, oh, you say toughen up, like, you know, and then he's kind of saying, well, you know, sometimes you gotta be toughened up, sometimes like that. And I do like there are, you know, there's elements of complexity, you know, even when Ezra's talking about, you know, I wish people can be, you know, happy all the time or peaceful, but sometimes people have so much pain. So I do like those moments in the series.
Yeah. Ezra's speech was great.
So
I think that was good for sure. And then the Claudia's boyfriend, he held his own. I think by the nature of him just being in that group and having interesting character choices, traits, makes him already a more interesting character than like Gallum. Like, I just feel like him being the voice of reason for Claudia, making her like go back and give the coins back. I was like, bro, you actually like did something like amazing. Like, you're affecting the story between the characters of who I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you like more attention. I'm giving you more value compared to the characters who are doing things I don't care about.
Yeah.
You know, I think his character in this season was like, he did more in this season, in my opinion, than Rayla did. Like, as a character overall.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
At the ending. I agree at the ending. The beginning, I didn't like him at all. I just thought he was just annoying.
Same. In the beginning, I thought he was like,
okay.
well, what the hell is this guy?
Yeah, what is this?
Yeah, but like he started. I think it was the moment where he persuaded Claudia to go back that left a big impact on me. I was like, damn, she walked all the way back just because he said that.
Yeah.
And like this is an actually good person on their team. So I guess it's not Viren that's gonna be the good person. It's gonna be him.
Yeah.
So like that's what they needed in that group. You know, is someone who is actually good. I wanted that to be Viren, but if it's him, that's fine. You know, like at least there's someone.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, I mean, I think. Do you have any more? I think that's about it for me as far as Dragon Prince goes.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like, yeah, Dragon Prince is like some parts of it are good, but like
Yeah.
there's so much. For me personally, I just feel like there's 25% of it that's good, and then the 75% of it is fluff, like things that I don't
Yeah.
care about, character interactions that I don't care about.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of hard for me to want to watch more, and that's why for this season, it was like you who told me like, oh,
Yeah.
check it out, and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, man, all right, like I'll do it for you.
I did a review.
I did it for you. I didn't do it because I wanted to. I'm gonna be real with you.
It's true.
But like it was enjoyable for the most part.
Yeah.
At least those scenes with Viren and his family. But yeah, it's gotta pull some like it's gotta come back from a lot for me to actually really want to watch it. You know?
Okay, I understand. I think for me, it was just I was already invested so much in these characters, and even with this new storyline with Viren, like I'm just curious to see where they go with it. If I really get pissed off next season, then I'll drop it. But there's just so much investment I had that I kind of want to see how this ends.
That's fair.
So that's where I'm coming
That's
into it.
fair.
But yeah, it's just to me the biggest problem with this thing. It's like it has potential, but just very messy. There's just little minor things with the
Yeah.
story. There's little hit bits there. There's a lot of fluff, whatever. Granted, it is done in an entertaining way to an extent, so I can forgive it to an extent. But a lot of times I'm just cringing. Like I don't need this. I don't need that. We can
Yeah.
get over here quicker.
Here's the thing, dude. It's a kids show.
It's true.
I know that should not be an excuse because Avatar was amazing
Exactly.
and it was a kids show, but it feels like a show where they're catering to kids
That's fair.
versus Avatar where they weren't catering. They added like elements of fun, but they wanted the story to be amazing.
Yeah.
Like the story was like top notch and
Yeah.
they cared about the characters and their development and everything like that. This show feels more like pop a joke there, pop a joke here, move the story forward, sure, but like it's all for the sake of like entertainment versus
Yeah,
like
that's
we're
fair.
trying to craft an amazing story. you
That's
know?
fair. That's fair. Maybe that's a better way of looking at it. That they're trying to go for the more entertaining route than they're trying to craft a better story, or at least putting an effort for a better story. So I'll give it that. I'll give it that. That's a fair
Yeah.
comparison.
Like I feel like on paper this is a good story, but
Mhm.
like their execution of it is just really messy and really like it loses focus a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
Like if they kept everything on Erebos and like just everything was just about that, I think it would have been a much better season.
100%. Yeah, I would agree on that. And just build the characters. Build the relationships well. All that stuff. Yeah, this would have definitely been a better season. But I guess it is what it is, man. But let us know in the comments your opinion on Dragon Prince. I know we talk trash on it, but if you have a stronger opinion and why it's actually better than Korra, I would love to hear it.
Well, yeah. Well, we talk trash, but like at the same time, like I said, there's 25% of it that's like good.
Yeah. It's an entertaining show. I can say that, and it's piqued my curiosity to see more. So it's something. Like there's some shows I never want to watch again. So it has that factor that at least I want to watch it.
Yeah. Peace.
Peace.